Welcome to Wide Neck Gaming, taking another look at Friday the 13th, the game. What you're seeing here is my first search that I did for this recording, and whatever I got, I just decided to put that one up first. You see a main screen of 8 people, and then you can check a box to start the match. After everyone has checked the boxes, or the timer has gone down to 15 seconds, the match starts. And here you can see which characters, the counselors you pick, and the Jason, if you get picked for Jason, one out of the 8 people. With this one, it's my least favorite map, but Pinehurst, this is one of the 2 additional maps that they added later on in the game. But with the character select, you can decide it can be random too. I picked random for my counselor, and for my Jason, I ended up getting the counselor, which is usually what you're getting most of the time, because there's 8 people. And one of them is Jason, and the other 7 are the counselors. You'll often have, like, sometimes people drop. You can see the ping on the right, how their internet connection is. So what the game does is, after you start a map, if there is a little space, and you see in the bottom there is, it'll give a little bit of time to find another person. But then if it takes too long, then it just starts. And this is very useful, especially when you have like 4 people and they ready up, and then there's all these gaps with players. You'll get at least a couple more. So as long as you get like 6, then you're in good shape. But how each match starts is it's the same cutscene for the same map, and whatever Jason that person picked, that's the one you'll see. And he always kills the poor guy in the blue T-shirt with the, I don't know, kind of greaser haircut. But it always plays out the same. There's always the characters hanging around the main building, and then Jason attacks. But the game, you always start in a random location on the map close to a building. And before I go into this more, just a reminder, this is a post-review, so it's going to be very, very spoiler-heavy, and it functions as a companion review to my my other review of the game, which is from a long time ago. So this is kind of an update as well, because this is months after my review. But close to a building, and your priority is to search the building that you are close to. And some tips for beginners. A lot of people, they kind of run early on and they don't know why Jason's chasing them. That's why the louder you are, and depending on the character you pick, he'll make more sound or less. Then Jason sees a little blip on his map, even if he's far away. Like, that'll show up, especially early on, because his sensibility, you're going to be farther away, but he'll pick up, and then he can jump to your location. So early on, you want to be walking around, kind of like I am here, and just searching that first building. And while you're doing this, you have a plan. On the bottom right is my map, and you have this even if you don't have the map perk. In the bottom left, I have my items. I start with the firecracker. I got a little bonus there. My other one is calling the cops. They come sooner. And then my last one is the health spray. If I find a health spray, then I get 2. But simple thing early on is just to be searching the building, and then once you get a map, or even if you don't have a map, kind of seeing what the next building to the one you're in is. And here for me it is the barn, so I'm kind of walk up to the barn. But I have a map, so I can see, okay, there's a boat, okay, there's a car. And then the 2 types of items that I narrowed down to are everything in the cupboards. And this includes like the firecrackers, the kind of consumable stuff you have, but also important items like the car keys, the phone fuse especially is the big one. Like, you find that one, you want to be searching for where the phone box is. And it's in close proximity generally to wherever you find it. So if you have a map, you want to be searching, and if you don't, you want to look for those houses close by and remember where you picked up that item. The other one are the large ones that are sticking around, like the gas can, the battery. And with these ones, they take up your your holding slot. Right now I have the shotgun. So if I want to be holding that item, it kind of depends on that, or if I want to be dropping it. You can drop both items. This is something I wish I had known early on when I played the game, but I eventually learned how to use that. When you're searching drawers, like you see there, I looked for the map. It'll just close it automatically if you already have it. I already have a map, so he closed that drawer there. But with the big items, you want to decide, do I want to carry that item, or if I have a weapon, like a shotgun, a machete, or if you're running to a location, then you want to hang on to it. But to drop your big item, you hold the down pad down, and then if you want to drop your small items, which if you're finding something and you pick it up, it takes place of whatever you have selected. Here I have my health spray, which is 2 selected. I'm forgetting I already searched that drawer. This is something you want to do also. A lot of new players will just hang on to an item and they won't know they can drop it unless they look into the player controls. So just tapping down, you drop your selected item in your small inventory, and then if you hold down, this is the big one people don't know usually, you drop the item that you're carrying. So if I have like my shotgun, I would be dropping. But what this does is then on the map it shows up the battery, the phone fuse, the car keys, the small items, and the big items. So then you know that it's there. And then if you're like a repair person, the guy I have here, Kenny, he's kind of middle of the road for everything. And this is random. I'm not looking for a particular play style, just kind of a random game, random character. But then you know where it's at, and you kind of know where to go. And the second part to it is, with those parts, you decide if you want to drop it off at the point. Like if I have the car battery, I'll drop it off at the car. The phone fuse at the house with the phone box. And with the phone box, you don't know where it is. So you have to search. So when you find that phone fuse, then you're looking around, and you want to really get that phone fuse as close as possible, and then let people know as soon as possible by dropping it. So as a beginner, if you remember nothing else, don't run. That just makes it easier to kill you earlier. And the most useful thing you can do as a new player, and a helpful thing for yourself too, is to search the building, so even players that are more experienced don't have to, or they know where items is. The second part would be dropping the items. Here I have the propeller, which takes place of what I'm holding, tapping it to drop the keys, phone fuse, and then holding it down to drop things like the battery, boat propeller, or the gas. Other than that, you're just searching house to house and really taking your time too. And this is even for more advanced players. I'll notice, and I do it as well. And you're always thinking everybody else is doing it, but then you search a house you searched, and there's a can of gas behind a door. You got to really take your time to search around, and it's not too hidden. You get close, a little white circle shows up for those big items, so they're there. But again, by walking around, not running, you're able to know they're there. The advanced character stuff, you'll kind of pick that up later. Later on in this video, I will show you your different abilities. But here you notice, like, I see the gas checked, so someone already put it in. All I gotta do is put in the propeller. And there's a little mini game. Like, I'm middle of the road, so it's a little bit harder, but fortunately I got an easier Jason. So I duff it up a half dozen times there or something. But then I'm still able to get in, and normally if you're Jason, you hear the little boat sound, so you would jump immediately as soon as possible to my location. And here I have both parts in, and I'm able to get out in the boat. The boat carries 2, and the yellow car carries 2, and then the blue car carries 4. Those are your escape vehicles. This map you always start with a boat though, and then it's a 2-car or a 4-car. Oh, here he wisens up, but I'm already past there. And then you see in the bottom right the little water thing signal is, like, then there'll be two orange cones with lights. I'll know to get out. After you escape, or if you die, in this case I got lucky and escaped. Then you go to the camera mode. You're able to see either each character, or you can go around like fixed locations that they have on the map. And then you can see everything else too, like how much time is left, if the time is up, and this is a good game, a fun game to watch also, which makes it a little bit better. Like some others where you die and then you're done, like battle royales. Some people enjoy it, but those can be a bit more tedious because it's just people surviving. Like with this one, she's calling the police here, and there you see the time shows up, and 5 minutes is the standard without the perk for calling the cops. But you see what everyone is doing. And there's there's a decent variety. Like they can be carrying a part, going somewhere. They could be hiding, or they could be fighting Jason, or just running away. And the type of character they pick too, like that, also affects play style. Like there's certain things they're going to be better at, and certain things they're going to have a rougher time with. And this is something you want to be aware of when you play Jason. Also, like you can with Jason, you can see more on the map. You can see like where the phone box is, where the power is for like each location, so you know where, if you want to go somewhere and take something out, like you can along the way. Whereas with the counselors, you don't have either of those two things, even though you have like the car and the boat. You can see those. And the and the shack, right? Jason's shack is another thing you can see, and then the characters can't. They gotta search around. And the camera is free. Like I can turn around. I can jump to different characters. That's the most fun, is to see what each character is doing. So. Kind of falls a little bit more into a little more relaxing. Like here you got her, and then the camera is just stuck there. And then like your items you drop too. And with those, you don't see the small items. You don't see like the firecrackers or the health spray, but like keys, phone fuse, those you see. Otherwise the game would be a lot harder if you would never be able to find it if someone carried it and then they were taken out. And that goes back to, like my recommendation for the game. Everything works together and is thought out. Like even small things like those are revealed. The phone fuse, and the car keys. And also how each game plays out. Like you have various skill levels. A lot of people that have played this a lot, and some people that haven't played as much. But because it's 1-on-7. And the nature of co-op too, it's not like you're all together. There's benefits, there's pros and cons to it. You want to do that or not, and even just like the benefit of beginners, just by searching houses, they can be more beneficial than someone that is good. Where if they're running around and they're not doing anything, and, it does depend. But with Jason here, like she ran through or crawled, I should say, through the window, and to kind of combat this, there's balance here. He can break the glass if he walks to a window, and then the character takes a little bit of damage, not too much, but enough where they can't continually do it. If they're just running away, then Jason can kind of cover each of the windows, and he has his traps as well. These are used more to cover the locations like the car. The phone box is the big one. That's mainly Jason's concern, though, is the phone box, because if someone calls, then they can escape on one side of the exits that appears randomly on the map, and then that's it. So there it gets out of control very quick if they get that. At least like with the car, with the boat. He knows that they are escaping. He hears the sound of the car starting or the boat motor starting, and then knows, okay, I got to get there, and they're focusing there. And that also makes it easier too. Like a lot of characters, a mistake they make is they only go for one objective, and especially if it's those. Like if it's the phone box, it's more worth it because once you have it, then you're done. Then you just have to wait. I mean, late in the game would be the exception. That's not worth it. Because you still have to wait that period of time, and he's already too strong and can knock out characters pretty quick. But that'd be the opposite. Again, like everything it works well as a game, like the mechanics with each of those things. But with the car and the boat, is at least he knows kind of where it's at, and then it often attracts people to go there, especially like a 4-car where 4 people can get away. But then often what happens with games is everyone gets killed, because if he stops the car, everyone keeps running around, everyone hangs around, and he's like, well, it's just to cover that objective with traps. So, but they still hang around, and the buildings too. He knows to cover those also. Here's the cat and mouse gameplay you're seeing. with windows and doors. Each building has either 2 doors or 1 and windows. There's shutters, you can't go through those, but then if they don't, you're able to crawl through. And for it to hurt you, Jason has to individually take out each window. And here she meant to, I think, close the other one. Oh, but you didn't get her. Locked herself in. But the windows, to damage, to discourage, I guess you could say, from the counselors from getting out, he can break the glass of each window so they don't go and hang around the same building. And then it restarts. I wanted to go back to the menu, talk about this a little bit. There's more besides the online game, and I recommend doing the offline and then just looking through the menus. Also, just it explains how Jason plays, how the counselors play, and the challenges are the offline. This is a good way to learn. This is all Jason you're playing, but to learn the mechanics of Jason. And these are kind of funny too, like the little cutscene they have in the beginning. And then there's objectives there. Virtual cabin below that, you can walk around, you can see little memorabilia, different things. But here's the Jason ability. Each one, he has the morph, sense, shift, stalk that you gradually get, and then the rage. And taking a little bit of time just to get a rough idea. Like there's a decent amount here, really, with each side, because it is an online game, and the more you know what you can do when you're running from Jason, or when you are Jason, abilities to use, kind of what to pay attention to. But this explains everything, like the offline modes, the experience, and the preference you have too. You can prefer to be Jason, not be Jason, then you'll more likely get him. But here's the perk system, different color codes, and then you have 3 of them, and you can change your outfits too. There's a lot. These are where like there's some microtransactions, but they're all cosmetic. At least I'm not a fan, but at least they're cosmetic. With the counselors, you have the different outfits and different colors you get though. Without them. And the 3, you have the shirt, shoes, everything, and little emoticons you can decide to do for each one, yes, no, and then other ones beyond that. And it tells the stats, like stealth, strength. For Jason, different assassinations, so there's 4 of them if you grab a counselor, and then the type of weapon you get to pick once you have so much experience. But then you can buy customized assassinations on the bottom here. I did check those out. But then there's ones unique to the weapon that you do get at least, so you have 3 of those. And spawn preference, like I explained, counselor, none, Jason. If you want to be one more often, or if you just want to always be a counselor, it's good to be Jason every now and then, because then you know how it works as a counselor, even if you don't like to. And you know the differences between Jason. Some are better at certain things than other things. The tapes you get, there's Pamela tapes.
Pamela.
That you get in the drawers, and there's also Tommy tapes too. And then eventually you get all of them, and then he just closes the drawer once you have them. Other than that, and then progression, there's little badges, a little extra achievement thing. I didn't really care about that, but then you normally pick quick play if you're not doing offline mode. Oh yeah, also there's offline bots, which plays out kind of like offline mode, like you have to be Jason, so. But quick play is the main one. This is kind of how the search works. There's enough people though always playing this game, so you don't have to worry about the game dying out. I mean, as of now, at least in late May, there's enough people. The big benefit of it though is you get a variety of people. It's not just pros playing like you have with other games. And the nature of how it works with one person as Jason and 7 as the counselors working together-ish. Because of that, because you have the variety, that kind of reinforces people to not be playing this too often, like that casual nature, but because it's popular enough, you're getting enough new blood, I guess, in the game. And some of those, oftentimes they're going to be playing as Jason, which makes it easier, and it's good, a better way to learn. And Jason is, very like overpowered compared to the counselors. Like, he can't die unless you go through the Jason kill thing, which both, you have to have at least 2 people knowing what they're doing. Going back to the game works, like these things are thought out well. But this is how you join a lobby. Like, here's the check boxes. People will, join. People will leave, and if you have the little red dash, then you can control the map. A lot of people don't know how to, going back to people that haven't played it too often, and it'll just be stuck on random. That's kind of your indicator that they might be new to the game, or some people just do just like random. Then the other one would be like the question mark. But yeah, here's an example. Like, boom, I got enough people, and a game starts, and I have a full group, and even if I didn't, a couple more would join later on. This one is Crystal Lake. This is probably my second favorite map. Like most people, I like Packanack. And then the 2 they added, Jarvis House, and there's the other one, Pinehurst. Pinehurst is my least favorite, which you saw in the beginning. Mainly because it makes it easier for Jason. They're easy maps for him. Stuff is spread out, and the exit points, and you always get a boat, which is harder to escape with. But here again, the same thing plays out. Like, they're hanging out somewhere here by a campfire. The poor guy wearing the blue T-shirt, and then whenever Jason is picked, he attacks him. And here his weapon is usually a machete. This is the Jason that I picked, and I happened to get him this time. And that's kind of an indicator if someone's played a while, like they have the wrong weapon with the guy, because they're able to get it later on. You normally want people that haven't played too much Because if you have like a high level Jason, they know what they're doing, but like they know where to go. So sometimes people will quit based upon that. Like if it's some jerk like me, then they'll get out. But I'd be like when I play too, I don't try to rush go to each spot unless people are running around. But here you see the blip says Jason because they're running around. Like I explained earlier, I'm breaking the windows here. There's someone in here. And they're setting a trap there. See the little lock thing to know the doors are locked. Always the doors and the windows, though. Consular and as Jason, you're paying attention to where they're at. One door or two doors. Like those are your two types of houses. And then back to that cat and mouse gameplay. And the more you know, like about the character, how fast they are, what they can do. But the assassinations, they are depending on the weapon that you have, not the type of Jason that you have. So like with the pickaxe, they have unique types of assassinations. But like with Jason, kind of like with the counselors, you are checking that map quite often just to see where everything is. And phone box, if nothing else, as Jason, phone box. Put that trap there in the beginning. I mean, if you're new to it, because that's the easiest way to escape. If they find the phone fuse. Like, it's trickier to find because it's in a cupboard. But it can be a negative, too. Like, there's Jasons that jump immediately lead to the phone box. And I know this, going back to kind of guessing what the person's doing. Then, if I hear Jason at the beginning of the match, I'm like, okay, well, this house probably has the phone box. So, and it shows you where you're at, where it is, as a counselor, like the little red icon will show up if you're close. With Jason, though, here's my sensibility. This, not so subtly, makes the house glow red when you're close enough. I'm using my shift ability right now, and you can see the cooldown there. Like I use my sense, it's kind of recharging. My shift is too. Besides that, I have throwing knives. Here I'm using morph. I heard the boat. Or I think I did, and sure enough, there's someone's there, and they run away. And they highlight red too. If they're out of the building, you can see where they're at with your sense. They highlight red. But with the counselors, the more you know, the better. Like if you know it's a slow counselor, it's worth taking your time, chasing them around. And then if it's a faster counselor, not spending too much time. And here is the water assassination, and he moves faster, more quickly in the water, as you can see. And certain Jasons, move more quickly. I think this one does. This one does too. He just moves more quickly in the water anyway. But with that shift ability, what happens is it kind of grays out your background, then you see highlighted with red if they're there. As a counselor, you can hide early on if he doesn't have rage. Then he doesn't show up, but here you're playing that kind of guessing game a little bit of it. If the house is glowing and suddenly isn't, maybe they're hiding under a bed or in the cupboards, the wardrobe, right? But early on, you're looking for those blips, and you see in the top left there, that's my rage meter. When that's filled up, then I go into rage, and that means I can go through buildings right away. And then also my abilities cooldown isn't too long. But with each Jason, even after that, as a counselor, you want to be aware of what he's good at, what he's bad at. Like one or two things. Like one thing what he's good at, that main thing, and then one thing that he's bad at. Like a thing that, like with the water speed, not as big of a deal unless there's a boat on the map, which this one there is. So like that's a factor. I kind of lucked out as Jason with there being a boat on the map. Here I'm knocking out the power. What this does is they can't use certain things like calling Tommy if it's in the vicinity. Otherwise, it just increases fear and makes it harder to search. Like they have to use the lights, but the fear is the main one. Like certain counselors are more susceptible to fear. I'm not intentionally taking these out, I try to do a little more chill, but it happened to be there along the way. I see those blips, and they didn't lock this door. And here it's completely dark. It's hard to really see as Jason too, but I have my sense ability. And when you're in a building, too, if you use sense, then you know if they escaped, because they'll show up glowing red. Here she is using a health spray, trying to. And there's little context-sensitive assassinations, too, like with this one with the door. And it'll show up in red when there is one. And one good tactic is to lock the door, so he has to go the long way to escape or use an ability. Like you're often trying to force him to use abilities as a counselor. One other big thing I didn't mention with while you're playing as a counselor too, and this is the main one. Like you want to know how to play as a counselor, because that's going to be, you know, probably 75% of the time minimum, even if you have a preference for picking Jason. If you don't, you could be a counselor basically all the time. But it's good to have that mix, just to know what Jason can do and like his approach. But the other big thing as a counselor is you want to keep doing the objectives. Things like, not just the phone box, even though I emphasize that, but like the car and the boat. Big mistake groups make most of the time, unless they get lucky, is to take out, you know, just do one objective. You know, like I was saying earlier with the car, and they'll kind of all go over there. You know, whereas you can use that time that Jason's not going to be paying attention to you. He's going to be focused on that car escaping, and until it does escape, you can assume he's going to be stuck there. So you're doing things like the other car, or the boat, or the phone box. You know, is even better at the same time. So it gives you more. It puts the pressure on him to try to control the map, so to speak. Especially when you have more people. Like when it's down to like a couple counselors and you've killed a couple, then you're in trouble. But here I'm doing a lot of checking, going back to the map. I'm seeing where that boat is. I'm seeing where the car is. But always keeping the pressure on him. And here they fixed the fuse box. So, you know, he can only be one place at a time, even though he can't be killed, basically, unless you do the Jason assassination thing. Or Jason kill comp, whatever they call it. But always doing all the objectives. And this applies to like the items that you pick up as well, like the gas, the battery. If you have two cars, if you have the gas far away and you're going to the car far away, that can make it harder for the other counselors. They have to bring the other gas, you know, far away to the car, and you know, like the keys, you know, everything else too. So the items that you do have, even if you're not you know, putting the gas in, putting the battery in because you have a low repair skill, just dropping it, you know, holding down or just tapping down if it's an item like keys or the phone box.
They want to hurt you, Jason. Don't let them.
And you know, in general, just distracting Jason too. Like it happened to me genuinely here. You know, going back to the sound thing with the running. And you show up. This also applies to when you're fixing things like the phone box or putting the gas in. If you screw up the little mini game, it'll make a sound. Like I'll hear gas spilling, or I'll hear the battery kind of short circuiting, and then with the boat, the propeller just making a sound. I'll hear that no matter where I am as Jason, and then I'll know to jump there right away. So there's a stealth aspect as well, besides the moving around where you're a little blip. Here, for instance, they stealthily did the boat, and I see the boat escaped. I mean, the boat was already out there, but someone swam, but they took their time, you know. So this is, you know, multiple things going on. Like if there's another objective going on where here it wasn't, that would make it even harder because I was doing that, and that's kind of your window as a counselor to escape or to do something else, you know, just run away even. But your approach to the counselors as Jason is different too. Like here I have Chad I'm following. He's really fast, but his stamina is very low. So if I getting him to run away, unfortunately and it depends on the Jason I pick too. Like I'm one that walks, so he's able to escape from me much more easily because he can kind of recharge his stamina while I'm walking around a little bit more. So, you know, I'm giving up here. Like, I can get him later because I also know his repair is bad. So I don't have to worry about him repairing anything. And here I'm walking. You want to be mindful of your abilities as Jason. Like, when it is highlighted, you see the little red half, like 2/3 triangle there. I know I can use an ability, but you don't necessarily want to use it right away, even though you figure like the more you use it, the faster you get to the cooldown, the more you're actually going to use it, because after you use it, you have to wait, and counselors know this. So, like if you escape a shift, for instance, here they didn't, but then if they're a walking Jason, you know, you have some time to escape. Like, they can't get to you. Like they can just walk towards you. So that's a time to kind of rebuild stamina or go to another location. And there's things with Jason too, like looking at if they're running away, you want to keep them running as much as possible, because then they'll run out of stamina and they have to wait for that to recharge. So it's that game of, as Jason, you want the counselors to run out of stamina, and you to have as many abilities ready to go as possible, especially shift, to kind of get right in there. And the other thing you have is the throwing knives, where depending on the Jason, you have more or less. You have either more of them or you have a regular amount. But these help you too, kind of like with that chase. But then with the counselor, then you want them to use up the abilities. You want them to waste as much as possible, because that'll give you more time. And time is sort of against Jason, because the longer time goes on, like kind of indirectly more so, the more time that passes, the more things are going to get done. And especially if there's less counselors, you know, you assume more things are getting done. And you can check this as a counselor. Jason doesn't know. He just knows if he's in person, you know, looking at a car. Like if the hood is down, he knows the battery is in. Gas, you have no idea. And with the boat, if the motor is down, you know the propeller in. But with the gas put in, you don't know. And then the phone box, you do, because it's red if something isn't in, and it's blue if not. But like with that, it doesn't really matter, because if it's blue, they're usually called by then, or if you get there just in time, you can knock it out, and then you know they're going for it, or you know that they have the phone box. But with counselors, but that's your goal though, is to make them use as much time as possible. It gives the other counselors to use time, because if he kills like a few people right away, then things move more slowly, like repairing things, knowing where items are. So, but late game he's stronger, but it does get to a point of time runs out, and then you're good. But it's more of an indirect thing, used very well. It's not like it's just superficial. Okay, the game's over, that's it. More of a luck thing. Or if you're pushing it and the Jason isn't as good, then you can push the time to the end. Or if it just takes a long time, to get all the counselors, because they stalled them for so long. And again, you gain experience, and there's different types of experience you have as well. Like one person escaped, that was from the boat that you saw there, but then the rest were killed. And sometimes players will leave mid animation, where nothing will appear there. And same thing with Jason too. Like he'll rage quit. Here is another playthrough. I decided to just jump kind of to the end just to show another escape scenario. Like these people escaped to the time before was with the boat, but putting that pressure on Jason all the time is the goal. Like either by just distracting him, like he is here, and here I heard the battery, so I know they're trying to fix it. But I'm taking too long to try to get this guy here. And, certain characters you don't want to waste your time with. Chad is kind of one of them, because he has those quick sprints, and if he can go building to building, you want to get him out in the open. So then then you're able to, use a stamina, use the fear factor, like he has that as well. But you can see here I'm using sense. I see two people sitting down. I know they're in the car. And as Jason, you decide, well, is it worth going after? I'm not going to get him at this point. So I just stick with the one guy. But what I should have done is probably go for the car, because I know like the Chad guy isn't going to escape. But just another example of kind of escape. And the game is at its best when a couple people escape, or like a few do. If Jason is kind of not as good, or in the middle of the road for skill level in the middle, the game is more enjoyable. But this is mainly how you're going to be playing, is the online, and it's an easy game just to kind of jump in, play a couple. Like, I mean, at first you'll play it more just to kind of learn how the mechanics work, but it's an easy game because you can play it any time. The skill isn't too crazy. There's people that are like level 150 and they're not as good, but and you notice that like if they play again, it's a little more laid back, or they haven't played in a while, so not used to using the Jason abilities in particular. But the next one I want to show here, this one I cherry picked a little bit, and this is my favorite map. There's small versions of a few of these: Crystal Lake, Packanack, and Higgins Haven. This is the small of the version I like, the Packanack. What this does is the map is a little bit smaller, and there's less buildings. This doesn't necessarily make it easier for Jason or the counselors. Probably a little bit more for Jason because there's less buildings to search. But then again, the counselors also have less buildings to search. So, but this definitely makes the maps, the match, move more quickly because there's less of an area that Jason has to explore to take out counselors, and for the counselors too. Like they'll get to the objectives much more quickly. But this one I picked kind of a better one just of an escape. And this is a scenario where you kind of have to do something different sometimes. Like you decide to do one thing, but then other people might do some objectives and not complete them, and you decide to switch to a different one. The goal is always to put the pressure, always be doing an objective as a counselor. And you want at least a couple going on actively, where people have parts and they're at like two different cars, or with the phone box too, like someone is there, or you know where the fuse is, so you head over there. A lot of times, like just for fun, but also people think, if you have more characters or more counselors together, that you're better protected. And this is sort of the case, but you can't take Jason out, and he can attack more than one character at a time. He doesn't have a weapon that breaks where the counselors do, and he doesn't have to search as much, but most importantly, you're tied up. If you're with someone else, it's not efficient to search one building together. And then when you have like 3-4 people, this will happen. And this has happened to me. Like I've been by myself, and he's searching the location I'm at. Here's the phone fuse as an example, where it's in the, again, like small cupboards. So you can't just run around and get the large pieces, the gas can and the battery. Well, there's also the phone fuse. And you see in the bottom left there, you gotta do a little juggling sometimes, decide what to hang on to, what not. The car key is one that you want to hang on to, because if you leave it by the car, someone can just pick it up and run off, which happens, and then they get killed, and then they're like on the other side of the map. But here, I'm sticking with so I'm hanging on to the key, but I'm looking for the phone box right now. So always having a plan, and it just depends how things play out. Like if I got the gas can, I might want to run to where the car is, drop it off there. And this also depends on the character. Like if I'm a repairing character, I want to take my time, and I'd rather have someone else do it, than go to it. But here I see the Tommy house, which I'm not searching because somebody already called them. And you can see this on the map. Like here I found the battery, and here I'm loaded up with stuff. I got a key, I got a phone fuse, and I have a battery. So it is a more like they call this more casual in a sense compared to other games, but because there's so many counselors and the randomization part and the cat and mouse with Jason chasing you, deciding what to do, like there's really quite a bit of skill in how you control, but then your approach to what you decide to do and tying up Jason. But going back to the groups of people hanging around and then you're by yourself, that makes it easy for Jason. You go after the person by themselves because they're the ones searching. Or even if you attack the group, there's less people searching around. You have like 4 people tied up, not searching houses, giving you more time, for Jason to get stronger. And it makes it easier to get one of them because if they're all running out of one window, or even in a building, or even out in the open, it's easier to catch one person using more for jumping around, throwing knives. You have more targets. You can miss one and hit another. The character I picked, Tiffany, it is important to know the role of each character, and early on I'd say don't do random. I would pick a character and know the couple of characters, like you get, or people on character counselors, same thing. Know what their strengths and weaknesses are early on, because you don't get all of them. You get some of the other like high repair characters later on. So it's good to know what they're good at and what they're not good at. And this includes things like stealth. Like Tiffany, I know, is the ultimate stealth because she can run early on and then doesn't show up. But when she's walking, too, like she doesn't, with her stealth, she shows up. And has decent stamina, so she's a running character, I would call her. Here, I gotta hit a couple times. Using my health spray. 2 swipes by Jason with no perks. Then you limp. You move a lot slower. Health spray is second most important. The pocket knife would be first, because with the pocket knife, if he grabs you, that's the easiest way for Jason to kill you. You stab him in the neck with the Swiss Army knife, which is the pocket knife, whatever. And then with the health spray, you're able to heal yourself, so like crawling through broken glass windows or getting attacked a couple times. And here you see the phone fuse is there, and I think I half forgot that I was searching for it, but I happened to find it. And it shows up in red, like if you're in close enough proximity. Now my character, and here he's planting traps, right, where you don't want the counselors to get it. Now here I dropped it, I gave it to that counselor because she repairs much better, and then I go to the phone here. I'm waiting for it to be done, and the little white circle shows up when you're able to pick something up or use it. And in this case, she doesn't. So I'm deciding whether I should just do it. And you'll run into that. People don't know how to play the game, or where you're using a character to use it. And that's kind of but it works with this game because it's about survival. It's not about, you want everyone to survive, but often when you're helping somebody else, like for example, I could repair a car, and they have the car key. I have to wait for them to start the car still, even if I fix the car. So I'm fixing it, risking making sounds and all that, and then, Jason follows me, and then the person gets in the car, uses that distraction to kind of get away, Or items being picked up, or, like, general distraction. Anyway, like, if someone runs towards you in the house that you're hiding, or then, like, your position's given away, and if you're a slow character especially, you can be totally screwed. Here's an example, though, is like where I'm improvising. I went to the phone box house, and I had the repairer person. I wanted them to repair, me to do the phone. They didn't. I didn't risk doing it myself to alert them, so now I'm running off to do something else. I'm looking for the Jason shack, which I find here. And then here I notice it's trapped. With the Jason traps, you can kind of get around. Depends where he puts it. With this one, and then here, yeah, I'm always checking your map as well too. You see the little talking people talking in the top left there, and you see I have the walkie-talkie. Early on this game, more people talk. Now they don't. It runs in party chat. Even when I put in my headphones, no one's talking, which is too bad. I wish that stayed, but less people talk. Here I'm getting the sweater, though. I just have to go in the shack, and I get the sweater and the axe. So I've switched from doing the phone box. I mean, I had the battery. That's just for other people. From calling the cops to doing the Jason kill comp, always putting the pressure. And with that too, like when you go into the shack, Jason is alerted, like his mom talks to him, and then he knows someone's there. But the point is to always be putting the pressure on it. And so I grab that and I'm walking away, kind of using my stealth as much as I can. But you're kind of adjusting to the situation, so you have these situations where you don't trust other counselors because it might not be their fault. They might be new to the game, they don't know how to play, or there's some that the worst is if they're helping Jason, like they're in the same party in a game. That doesn't happen too often, though, fortunately, because it has to be two people in a group together, and one of them has to be Jason. Per chance, if it's a group of more people, like 3 or 4 or more, then they're not usually working together, like they actually want to win, because that doesn't work. You don't have all people working with them. But I've seen it where a counselor does help them, and it's as simple as them running to your location, because they can see where you're at on the map. And then Jason knows to just follow him. But here I'm noticing I got my fuse there, and it's just going south. People are getting killed, so I'm focused on survival in this situation. Most of the time, like you're trying to help with an objective and then get out. But this circumstance, I'm just getting away, and I'm looking. And also, you can see who's been killed. Like I see when I go to the screen, Tommy's been killed, and the kill comp is I need Tommy. So I know that's not going to work. And here I'm in a situation of, okay, no one called the cops. There isn't a vehicle escaping, so I'm deciding what to do here. Like I need to fix a car or get into a car someone else has escaped in. And you can see when they move. Like as long as you have a map, you can see across the entire map. And here I'm seeing the car has escaped, and I'm trying to meet them on the road. That's my only chance to escape, because if I try to repair with Tiffany, my repair is horrible. And he'll be alerted, and then he'll just kill me. And fortunately, they're not running me over, they're stopping, so I'm getting in. That's another thing you can do. And then I'm able to escape here. Even though I have the sweater, I can still escape, even though I'm not using it. And the blue car is 4 people. Now, what happened with this game, unfortunately, with the glitches and all that, like of all the games I reviewed, this one is the worst. It's gotten a little bit worse, actually. With one is the packanack. You can go on the top and then Jason can't get to you. This one's back. It was away, and it doesn't happen too often, but it does happen. So again, if you don't like glitches, I wouldn't recommend. Or, if you can't stand them at all, I wouldn't recommend it. Like, in context of how the game works, because they're short matches, it's not, like, this still doesn't happen often. You have to be on packanack, which is this map, and you have to have someone doing it. And it's not, it's boring to do it as a counselor. It's not fun to play the game. Or people don't know about it, again, because you have a variety of skill levels, so it doesn't happen too often. But it did happen more often, though, when I've been recently playing the game. I wish they would do, like, if they're listening, just do it where the counselor dies if it's outside the map, like at 5 seconds, or like a few seconds, even, where they can't do it. But I think they're just determined to make it not possible to go on the roof. I think at this point they should do that, because this has been a problem for, like, since the game has released. Like, this kind of thing is happening, and then it was gone, now it's back again. So if they just did that, just did it like where they're 5 seconds if they're outside of the boundary. If they lost health even, or died, or some kind of penalty for it. Because if people know that they can do it, then they do it again. And what this means is, like I'm in the lobby. I want to get back and do another game, and it's fun to stay with the same group too, because like someone that is Jason, they'll be a counselor, or you're Jason, and then or you were a counselor and you're Jason, and then like the Jason's a counselor, so you want to get back at him. You have to like the revenge there a little bit. Or just getting with a good group, like if you want to stay with the people, everyone's hanging around, like having a good time, it's good. But then like when this stuff happens, then you just gotta wait until the game is over, or Jason quits, which brings the game back to the lobby, or the person doing it quits, which doesn't really happen. The other big one, though, for the glitches that I notice here, I am playing a counselor, is the Jason grab glitch. He grabs you, and he tries to do an assassination, does it at the wrong time. This has happened to me a lot. And then he stands there holding an invisible person, and then he does the assassination. He's doing the boiling in the pot one. But here I'm hanging there, and this is for a while. Worst case scenario, he is stuck like that the rest of the game. When you are stuck like that, though, as Jason, just go to the water. They'll switch to your Jason water movement, and then it'll kind of get out of it. But this last clip I have is I'm playing a different character, with Vanessa. She is the runner, and she can't repair well. It doesn't mean you can't do the repair minigame, just that it's quite a bit harder. How like the wheel goes around, and you do the repair. You can screw it up much more easily. But going back to that kind of hold glitch thing, what happened to me is I had a character, I was kind of stuck there, and the other Jason was walking around. He was stuck like that too. That's the main one, though, I've noticed since my review before, is that one happens quite often, where you're killing the same person a few times. But I guess with that one at least, it doesn't happen usually where you're stuck and you can't go back. But this happens with a counselor too, where you can't use items or anything. Sometimes you can do a button command, drop something and it'll work, but that's been the big one. The other one with packanack, at least on the roof, doesn't happen too often. But this last clip here, I'm playing a character that doesn't repair well, and you'll see here when I repair the electrical box, how many more button presses I have to do, and like how much larger the wheel is for me to do anything from putting gas in, battery, fixing an electrical box, phone fuse, like everything. It carries over to that repair skill. But gameplay-wise, it's different. Here I'm running around, and Jason is seeing where I'm at, like with the little blips coming up, but I'm able to run away much more easily because I have a larger stamina bar. I run faster for longer, and then early on, with his abilities, Jason just starts with the morph, which is the jump, and then the sense shortly after, but then he doesn't have that shift where he can chase after me quickly. Even if he can run, and he's not a walking Jason, he has a much harder time catching you if you're a running character. Like it's mainly just Vanessa. The other ones you can grind down a bit because of their stamina. But with Vanessa, you want to be careful with Jason, not wasting your time if you haven't gotten her after a couple houses of going back and forth cat and mouse. But with this one here, what I am doing, in certain Jasons will go for the electrical boxes right away. Just to show you, though, the difference with a non-repairer is it goes a little bit more slowly, and I'm I have RB, LB on the Xbox One controller. Here I got really lucky. I'm not that good at it, but I didn't miss any. So it's possible to do. Like if you get a pro repair Vanessa person, some people are like they're Vanessa and they can fix everything. That can be very deadly because she can run around. She doesn't have really any weaknesses, like apart from attacking Jason, which isn't a big deal. But with this one, there's the shack spawns a couple different random locations on the map. Like if you think of roguelites like Spelunky, where certain things reappear in the same place. You kind of have that here. It's in like you see the land kind of jutting out in the south of the map, and it happened to be there. I found it right away. Certain characters are more deadly. Only the female consuls can get the sweater. But like with Vanessa, she is one of the most. She is the most, really, because she can sprint and run. So even if Jason goes after me, I can run away very easily because I have that long stamina, and it's early on, and I happen to find the sweater early on, so like that was lucky. But it just depends how the game plays out. Sometimes you spawn somewhere else and get the items, so like you're focused on that early on. But here I'm doing taking my chances, fixing another one. Because I know, part of it is even if he would jump towards me, or morph towards me, I could just run away. And with this one, oh, I missed one at the end there. And when you miss, you go back to the previous wheel. I almost got that one too. I'm getting really lucky. But even so, like here I have an objective. Even I'm still searching houses, kind of being aware of what's going on. I see someone left a battery in the cabin next to me there, like a little ways up north, like see the bottom there. And you see where other counselors are too, like the white circle shows you where they're at. So you guess as far as, well, maybe they're picking up an item, so I won't bother, so I'll go somewhere else. And this is why, it's good to spread out and try not to alert them early on. Like the running around does kind of work if you're spread out in an early game, because he has a hard time chasing the counselors. But when you're all together, you're only searching that one building, and then there's only so many places you can escape. And here no one grabbed it, so I decided to pick up the battery. And since I have the sweater, I'm keeping an eye on, like there's the objectives too. There's a little red check mark if someone does something. Keeping an eye on Tommy when he comes back. And I'm not a repairer, so I'm dropping off the battery for someone else to do it for the car, and then going back to the axe. So, I'm focused on the kill comp right now, because I got the sweater. All I got to do is get to Tommy. And then I can. It's just a matter of got to take off his mask, got to use the sweater, and then he hits him with the axe, or anyone does, and then when he's down, he presses just A on the Xbox One controller to take him out, and then that's the end of the game immediately. But no fear of running around the map, and you can tell which Jason too. Like if it's this Jason, for instance, with the shears, I know it's probably like a noob Jason early on, or with the axe even too. But unless he has a different weapon, here's the multiple objectives thing. Like he's going for the car, he's distracted. I got the sweater. He doesn't suspect me coming. And then this is also by the phone fuse box. It's helpful for Jason to have the objectives close by. Like here happens to be the car by the phone box. That's better for him. He can cover one area and cover two objectives basically, and like lay traps, and it funnels people there too as well. Like you know they're going to go there, so it's a good area to be as Jason. But with this, he's in real danger because if his mask is off, and I got Tommy with me with the axe, so it means he can be killed pretty easily. And some people will put a trap by the shack so someone can't get in and get the sweater and get the axe. So the last thing I do here is with the sweater, I activate that, he knocks him over, and then presses A, and then often sometimes he'll rage quit at the end, and then the game is over either way, of course. But anyway, I hope this gives you an idea more how it is, meant to expand upon my review. And this is an update as well, because my review was quite a while ago. Subscribe if you really liked it. I'll be back to another 5-point update review, and I will see you next time.